Here's something a little different than the normal stuff you see on NCX Tech Tips, a TV review. Well, see, TVs right now are going through exactly what cell phones went through in order to get where they are today. Dumb phone, dumb TV. Smartphone, smart TV. Now, just like smartphones, televisions are adopting Android and becoming basically PCs in their own right. Okay, they can't quite edit 3 documents, play a movie, and browse the web at the same time, but still. And leading the Android on TV charge is Sony, who is coming out with a whole slew of new 1080p and 4K TVs running Android TV, including this one, the 49-inch 49X830C. That's a bit of a mouthful. That's a bit of a mouthful. That's a bit of a mouthful. I can't even say that. That's a bit of a mouthful. I played around with the 830C for a few days, and first off, the 4K looks awesome. We played some sample 4K videos from YouTube at 60 Hz, and boy, things sure look pretty. In fact, even regular 1080p looks pretty good thanks to the upscaling. That's partially because of Sony's new chip, which they're calling the X1. Nope, not Nvidia's Tegra X1. Sony made their own X1 chip, sucker! Now, we didn't get any numbers from Sony on the actual specs of the chip, but what they're saying is it enables 3 features of their 2015 lineup. Number 1, Extended Dynamic Range Pro, which helps accurately represent dark and light areas, Tri-Luminous Display, which helps show vibrant colors, and 4K X Reality Pro, which intelligently upscales sub-4K content to 4K. Now, this model itself apparently only has one of those features, the X Reality Pro upscaling, because it's kind of in the middle of Sony's 2015 Android TV range. But I mean, the whole time I watched this TV, the quality seemed pretty good. No noticeable backlight bleed, solid viewing angles. The sound isn't going to knock anyone off their feet, but it was good enough so that I wasn't wanting to hook up separate speakers. So let's take a look at the exterior. We've got a pretty thin bezel in the front with an LED indicator light on the bottom. On the left side, we've got nothing. On the right side, we have 2 USB 2 ports, an audio jack, 4 HDMI 2.0 ports, one of which supports MHL, so you can screen share with your mobile device, and one of which supports ARC, which is something to do with receivers and audio and whatnot. If you need it, you'll know what it is. Below that, we have an IR in and serial port, and coaxial jack for your TV signal. Below that, on the back of the TV, is some manual controls for power, channel, volume, input, and TV selection. Also on the back is your traditional component inputs, an optical audio out, and an Ethernet jack, and yes, the TV also supports dual-band Wi-Fi, so you can go on your 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz bands. On the other side of the 4 mounting holes is the power cord, along with a cool readjustable cable management tie. Okay, so the unit itself is pretty nice. The picture quality and resolution is great. It's a 49-inch 4K TV after all. Now let's talk about the thing that makes this really interesting, the addition of Android TV. The OS has already been on Google's Nexus Player and Razer's Forge TV set-top boxes for a while, but Sony's 2015 lineup are some of the first TVs we're seeing with it baked right in. So what is it like to use Android TV? Well, it's Android on your TV. Granted, it looks a little different. The whole UI is centered around these horizontal rows, a lot like Netflix. By default, it will display recommended content from apps that you can select from the settings. Then there's featured apps, input selection, apps that you actually have installed on the 8 GB of internal storage, games, and settings. There's the familiar Play Store with apps, games, music, movies, and TV shows available for download. After fiddling around with the interface for a few minutes, it becomes pretty apparent how to get to the content you want. Seems like the easiest way is to use the voice search function, which is at the top of pretty much every screen. The settings menu as well has lots of options that the typical Android user would expect. Like I said, it's Android on your TV, but it's definitely a dumbed-down Android, which obviously makes sense that this is TV after all. It's meant for the masses. That said, there's no browsers I could find, except for some sketchy affairs that I was afraid to download, which I guess makes sense, but I was still kind of disappointed given that it is Android. Look, I expected a browser, so sue me. I also discovered that a lot of mainstream apps have yet to receive Android TV versions, including apparently Netflix. There's no Netflix app. Now, this is a pre-release model. I'm sure Netflix is coming soon, so don't freak out. But you can imagine my surprise when I pressed the giant Netflix button on the remote, only to get a message about how more apps and streaming services are going to be available in May 2015. They better be. Now, there's a bunch of different ways to control the interface, the included remote, obviously. There's also a different one-flick remote with a touchpad and integrated mic that comes with the higher-end models, but you can also purchase, and the remote control phone app, which lets you use your phone's mic to voice search and keyboard to type. You can also control your TV using Google Cast because it's built in. No need to purchase a Chromecast or something else to send content to the TV. Screen mirroring is also supported with Mirrorcast and Wi-Fi Direct, as well as DLNA so you can stream from an HDPC or network drive. Sony also has an app called TV Side View that lets you control your TV while also exploring other content on tablets. And because this is Android, you can plug in a ton of other peripherals for control as well, USB and Bluetooth mice, keyboards, and controllers, which you can use to play the plethora of Android games on the Play Store that work with those. Speaking of controllers, because this is a Sony TV, it works with the PlayStation Now streaming service, or at least it will when PS Now becomes available on it and other 2015 TVs. Curiously, there's no option in the settings for connecting a PlayStation controller. I hooked a DualShock 3 and 4 up using USB, but that had trouble connecting with Bluetooth. I'm assuming that that's going to be solved in a later update as well. Sony also has a few of their own features baked into the TV. There's obviously options to change screen brightness, gamma level, contrast, and all that goodness. There's a Discover button that brings up suggestions over top of whatever you're watching so you can line up more content right away. And they even have a feature called Photo Sharing Plus that allows you to set up some sort of temporary photo server so people in the room can pick up photos to display on the TV, and you can download ones that other people put up as well. That's kind of cool, I guess. All in all, I think Android TV has a bright future among consumers' living rooms, but at the same time, we should be wary. There's quite a few apps missing that I would definitely like to see, and the YouTube app is pretty bare bones. A simple quality setting button would be nice so I could see exactly what resolution the video that I'm watching is being played at. I am pleased with the amount of connectivity and device support that's there, and I'm confident that as the platform grows, we'll see more and more development to improve those issues. Well, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Let me know in the comments, what do you think of Android TV? Is it doomed to the same sad fate of Google TV? Sound off below. Go ahead and like or dislike the video, see if I care. I do care. I will cry, depending on what you do. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this from NCIX.